Hello again, MMA True Believers. I'm Jason Burgos for Sherdog.com, and I am joined by a man getting not only his first main event slot in the LFA, but also his first championship opportunity for the organization when he faces off with Bryce Logan at LFA 87 on July 31st. And that man is Bellator and Dana White Contender Series veteran, the Little Badger, aka Jacob Rosales. Mr. Badger, sir, thanks for the time to talk this title fight coming up.
Thank you for having me.
Now, my pleasure. Now, you are pretty well-traveled in your career. Like I mentioned in the intro, you fought Bellator, the Contender Series, but also you fought for Combate, RFA, CXF, FCOC, and a few others. Now, LFA has developed a really strong niche in the sport, has a legitimate, notoriety in it. Is there a lot of meaning in this fight for you, being a headliner, getting a chance to win LFA gold, that has so much relevance, not only for your now, but even for your future by winning that?
Yeah, absolutely. The LFA title is one of the most talked about titles other than the UFC and Bellator, and being able to fight for that and then taking that home, it's just a huge accolade on my part, and it's just something that I'll always have. It's not like one of these smaller organizations where I win a belt. It's like, this is like a deal. This is like the big deal.
Before we get into this fight coming up, in researching for you, I was amazed to find out the deeper details of your appearance on the Contender Series last July, where you were still healing a fractured fibula, removed your cast early, took the fight. From what I read, you re-injured the fibula in the fight, and because it was still healing, you also weren't quite able to do the cardio going to the fight. It affected you and everything like that. When you look back on that fight, would you not change a thing and just view it as how tough the sport is? Or was it like a learning process, a learning moment? You realize, wait, you know what? I'm tough, but I'm not invisible. I can take risks, but I got to take certain kinds of risk with my career.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain parts that, like, obviously just the losing part sucks, but getting an opportunity like that is huge, and that's something that I've been shooting for since I was a little kid. So it was never a question like I wasn't going to do that. And looking back, and people ask me now, like, oh, you're so dumb for doing that and this and that, but I'd probably do the same shit again. I'm not smart. So fighting with a broken leg isn't like, I fight with injuries all the time. And, I mean, yeah, the leg is huge. Like, that's, you stand on them and you take a huge part of that out. And yeah, just I don't think I would change it. Probably my coaches would, but for me, I would have the same mentality that I was going to go out there, and if I had the cardio, I would have been able to beat them. But the fact that I couldn't run, I was doing the craziest shit trying to get ready with one leg, and but it is what it is.
Fair enough. Now, most that follow LFA understand winning a title there is often the springboard to the UFC. Considering you had that brush already with getting into the organization, does this fight take on a little bit more pressure because these opportunities don't come all the time? As important as beating Logan is, winning the title, redeeming yourself, is that getting back on the UFC radar, is that as important as anything in this fight?
Oh yeah, the UFC is the goal. Being the UFC champion is the goal. So getting this belt and then starting the career and the process of getting the next belt, like, yeah, the LFA is just a huge stepping stone that once I win this title, that it's just going to launch me into my UFC career.
Now, this fight was supposed to happen in April, so you have pretty much been preparing for Logan, for over 5 months or so, like that.
Yeah.
Now, I believe you train in California, right?
Yes, sir. Where it's all crazy over here.
That's exactly where I'm going with this. How much has this craziness affected, your training and everything like that? And in a weird way, was that cancellation maybe a godsend because, you've been training for him so long, you don't need to train specifics much more. So if your training has been hampered by this, you're as ready as you can be anyway.
Yeah, like the training part changed for maybe like a week when it really got crazy, and when I say like a week and a half maybe, where it was just like, all right, I wasn't able to do everything I was doing before. I was still working out, I was still training, I wasn't like taking days off. So it didn't really change too much. Like, me and my coach, we opened the gym up. I was still going to strength training. I was still getting my miles in. I was still doing sprints, and I live in a like, and I train in like such a small circle, I guess, where it's kind of like very like family based. So like, it's not like a huge gym where they're gonna like not let me in because of this. We're doing secret workouts. We're doing all this stuff to get me ready, and him and knowing about that fight for for however long it is, it's just getting me more prepared. The ass beating is just going to be way worse, and I'm just sharpening my tools even more, and I can't wait to finally go out there and showcase everything.
Logan has a very strong wrestling base. It comes from a state known for its strong folk wrestling. However, you have worked for a long time at CSW, a gym that trains really good all-around grapplers, not just straight-up BJJ, not just straight-up wrestlers. Do you think he would be mistaken if he thought he can just go in there and out-wrestle you?
Oh, yeah, he's not going to out-wrestle me. There's no way in hell he's going to out-wrestle. I've been wrestling. I've been training since I was 11 years old, so I've been really I've been wrestling since then, and I wrestled through high school. I took runner-up in CIF 3 years in a row. Made it to Masters 3 years in a row. Lost my chance to go to state, but I mean, he's not going to out-wrestle me. I'm too long for him, and I mean, if that's the only thing he's banking on, well, good luck to him, because all his shots are going to get stuffed. He's not gonna have an answer, really.
And I'm glad you brought up being long, because that's what I was going to do next. You do have size advantages, reach advantages. Is that something you expect to be a real factor in the fight? Maybe work that jab, work him from range? Or do you feel like you need to just get up in his face early and often?
Oh, everything I have is an advantage. From the striking to, if I wanted to be in the pocket with him, I'm gonna beat him up in the pocket. If I want to stay long, I'm gonna stay long and sniper him and just pick him apart. So I don't see a problem at all, and that's just how I view it. And he's going to be really frustrated with the way I fight, and he's just gonna fold.
No, and I'm glad, you're talking about, like, the confidence, just the matchup of it seems like you feel it's just such a strong level in your advantage. In a recent interview, you called him just another victim, and the fight won't go past the second round. Now, explain that belief, Do you feel he has just these massive holes in his game that matches up well with your strengths? And, like, do you not feel he's even really deserving of being in his title shot? Like, you feel very confident for this.
No, I feel like he's deserving. Don't get me wrong. He's tough, and we're preparing for the toughest dude there is. But I'm just way more tougher, and I'm willing to go in there and die. I'll go in there with a broken leg. He can break every bone of my. I'm still going to go after him, and he's not going to get the chance to get anything off me. He's ready to go 5 rounds, 25 minutes of dishing out a victory, and I'm ready to go in there and put my hands on him, make him hurt, and get out of there. I'm not trying to be there for 25 minutes. Yeah, I'm ready for it, but I ain't trying to fucking fight for 25 minutes long and go to the decisions. Like, I'm ready to get in there, put my hands, and get out.
Now, and I just talked to him, and, he has a great deal of respect for you. I brought up that comment and stuff like that, too. But, if this fight has to go into the later rounds and talk about, your toughness, you will die, and then we talk about the broken leg, all that stuff, do you think if it becomes that battle of wills, do you think he's ready for what, lengths you're willing to go to in there? Do you think he fully gets it?
Yeah, I'm sure he has cardio. My cardio has never been better. When I say it's never been better, is the training we've been doing this week to test my cardio, it's unbelievable, and I'm at a different level. And and don't get me wrong, I have a huge respect for him. Obviously, like, he's a contender fighter, and I'm not overlooking him, or I'm not looking past him. Yeah, he's tough as shit, but there's got to be a dog that's tougher, and that's me. So we're gonna find out, and so I'm ready for whatever he brings.
Talk to me about your nickname of Little Badger. I love good nicknames, and finding out the origin stories of them, I'm a big fan too. I've been told it has something to do with your coach, Ben Jones, who when fighting was named the Badger. How were you bequeathed with your nickname, and does it mean a lot because of that connection with him?
So back in the day when I started training, I was like 11 years old at CSW, and that's when we had Josh Barnett, and we had like the heavyweight killers, and we had everybody there. And Ben's nickname was Ben the Badger Jones, and I was in there 12, 13, sparring with, like going and sparring with fight practice. Like I'm a little kid. I look like Make-A-Wish kid. I have no hair. I have nothing. And Josh looks over at Ben. He goes, he fights just like you. Like he doesn't care. He's a little badger. And ever since then, Ben started calling me that. Everyone started calling me that. So I took off with it.
Do you get to a certain point though when you're like, okay, I'm a grown ass man, I'm fighting for real, that I shouldn't be little anymore, or just still means the same, it's still just as cool?
Oh, I wish, but he would never let me have that. I'll always be a little badger. He'll never let me have that.